Amsterdam is the capital of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, a bustling and picturesque city, dotted with canals and instantly identifiable by its gorgeous brick facade houses. The name Amsterdam comes from the Dutch word Amstelredam, which means dam/dike over the Amstel River. The name was given to the city in the 13th century, when it was a little fishing community on the Amstel River. The fact that Amsterdam has only been the capital of the Netherlands since 1983 is one of the most unexpected facts about the city. Prior to this, the country's capital was The Hague, which is now known for its politics and for housing the girl with the pearl earring painting in its museum. The Dutch government and parliament are still based in The Hague. More ethnicities live in Amsterdam than any other city on the planet. Despite having a population of less than 1 million people, the city is home to people from over 180 different countries. Amsterdam can receive up to 20 million visitors in a single year. One of the oddest facts about Amsterdam is that it has the most number of bridges of any city on the planet. While Amsterdam is sometimes referred to as the Venice of the North, the Dutch capital has more than 1,200 bridges, more than 3 times the number of river crossings that Venice has. Amsterdam is built on poles. Because most of the Netherlands is built on clay and is only a meter above sea level, Amsterdam is built atop 11 million wooden poles to prevent buildings, and even trees and parks, from sinking into the ground. The average house is built on roughly 10 poles, whereas Amsterdam Centraal is built on around 9,000. Despite the fact that the poles provide some support, several of the structures are sinking into the ground, making them slightly crooked. The dancing houses are the most well-known of Amsterdam's crooked houses. Amsterdam has 165 canals, which means the city's total canal length is nearly 100 kilometers. The majority of canals are 2 to 3 meters deep, and were built primarily between 1585 and 1665. The Amsterdam Canal Ring was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2010. Urinating into the canals of Amsterdam is forbidden for obvious reasons. That is, unless you're expecting a child. Furthermore, the regulation is in place for safety reasons, in addition to hygiene. Each year, a dozen people are thought to die in Amsterdam after falling into the canals while urinating. So be cautious when near canals. Almost none of them have barriers. With so many canals and waterways, it should come as no surprise that Amsterdam has almost 2,500 houseboats. De Poenzenboot, one of the houseboats, even serves as a charitable sanctuary for stray cats. Because Amsterdam is famed for its nightlife, it should come as no surprise that the city has over 1,000 bars. Café Karpershoek is said to be Amsterdam's oldest pub, having been established in 1606. It was one of the first bars to obtain a legitimate trading license, making it the oldest. Tietjen is one of Amsterdam's most unique bars. The name of this famous drinking institution, which dates back to 1519, relates to In the Monkeys. This is reminiscent of the days when sailors would return from a trip abroad and pay for their beverages with monkeys. The bar became so crowded over time that frequent customers began to complain about the fleas. Amsterdam is a famous bachelor party destination. There are numerous nightclubs, as well as a red light district, in the Dutch capital. The truth is that most locals will only visit the red light district if they have to travel through it on their route somewhere else. To begin with, the women behind the windows are generally foreign, and the shops and cafes are primarily for tourists. It'll most likely disappoint. While the city of Amsterdam has a population of roughly 800,000 people, it is estimated that there are around 1.2 million bicycles in the city. Furthermore, With over 400 kilometers of bike lanes, Amsterdam is actually easier to explore by bike than on foot. Cyclists in Amsterdam mean serious business. Never stroll in a bike lane, or you'll face the wrath of an irate local on two wheels. This is a rule that hasn't been written down. Bicyclists are unrelenting, regardless of whether they ride a Harley or a monster truck. Cyclists disregard stop signs and weave their way through the narrowest of streets, and they always appear to be in a rush. As a pedestrian, you must be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you look in every direction possible twice before crossing the streets of Amsterdam. You'll be all right if you just follow this guideline. In Amsterdam, using marijuana and drinking in public is banned and considered terrible etiquette. Similarly, photographing sex workers in the red light district is forbidden. In the Netherlands, cannabis is not officially legal. Isn't that shocking? Weed is actually decriminalized in the Netherlands, called a tolerance policy. To put it another way, it's tolerated. This is a different scenario when it comes to cultivating your own. Locals are allowed to grow up to 5 cannabis plants, but this is a big no-no if you want to produce on a larger scale or sell the drug. Amsterdam marijuana laws. Possession of drugs is punishable, but with a maximum of 5 grams of weed or hash, the police will just take the drugs. You can give them up, and you will not be prosecuted. If you have more soft drugs than the quantity for personal use, 5 gram, you will be fined and risk a prison sentence. Minors are not allowed to have any drugs. The tolerance policy does not apply to them, so you must be 18 or over to buy drugs. Growing weed at home is legal, however 5 plants or less, you can give them up, and you will generally not be prosecuted. Hard drugs are not allowed. Import and export of drugs is illegal. You cannot smoke in public. You can smoke weed only in Amsterdam coffee shops. Keep the Dutch attitude in mind. The Dutch have a reputation for being blunt. If a native gives you an unvarnished, candid view, it comes from a position of honesty rather than impoliteness. It's polite to voice your mind and keep it short in Dutch society. Don't be startled if no is an entire phrase. Be ready for any type of weather. This means you'll need a raincoat, an umbrella, sunglasses, and sunscreen. The weather in the Netherlands may be fickle, so be prepared, if you really want to be sure. Wearing orange will help you make friends. In recent years, the Dutch have become recognized for their orange coats, orange fever, or orange gekt, orange fever, at athletic events, orange craze. Wear the royal family's customary color, if you want the Dutch to know you're rooting for them. The more bizarre and outrageous the costume is, think wigs, feather boas, and face paint, the better.